Hello everybody, Xword64 back again today with another Kirby video, and from this recent interview with IGN, we may know what the future holds for the Kirby series. On March 31st, an employee from IGN interviewed Shinya Kumazaki, the series director for Kirby, in regards to Forgotten Land and Return to Dreamland Deluxe. For those who don't know who Kumazaki is, he joined HAL Labs in 2002, working on Nightmare in Dreamland and Aerogree, before eventually becoming series director in 2008, starting his directorial debut with Superstar Ultra. Kumazaki is a major figurehead in the Kirby series as a whole, and he's played a major part in every subsequent Kirby release, from Superstar Ultra all the way up until Return Deluxe. He cares a lot about the climax of a Kirby game, specifically the final boss events, so for any of the eldritch horrors you've had to endure for the past handful of Kirby games, Kumazaki is responsible as he designed them. He also voiced DDD since Superstar Ultra, which is also pretty dope. Either way, with the background on Kumazaki done, let's get on to the interview itself. This is a pretty short interview, but it's still an important one. The interviewer asked Kumazaki two questions: if there were going to be any more classic Kirby remakes or ports in the future, these akin to Superstar Ultra and Return Deluxe, and if we can expect a mix of 2D and 3D games going forward. Basically, it was a where was the future of the series headed type of interview. And it's pretty interesting stuff if you ask me, as this past year has been nothing but Kirby releases, thanks to the anniversary event. To quote the interview, while Kumazaki couldn't share any concrete plans for the future of Kirby, HAL Laboratories' goal is always to provide a new gameplay experience. This to me sounds like they're being responsible with Kirby. They won't remake a previous game for the sake of remaking it, and they're treating the IP with care. There are some game companies, even Nintendo, that'll remake a game with little care or attention to the development, only for it to come across as a heartless cash grab. And it'll sell poorly despite the company expecting it to sell well, since it's a beloved game now remade for modern day consoles. So it's a relief that we can count on HAL to actually give a damn about their franchise here, as they take pretty good care of it. They'll remake a game only under the condition that there's something new that they can add to the previous experience. For example, Return Deluxe has all of Merry Magaland as well as Magalore Epilogue, both completely brand new game modes that weren't present in the original that also add a brand new experience to the game. The exact same model was also applied to Superstar Ultra when that was released, as Revenge of the King, Meta Nightmare, Helper to Hero, and the True Arena were all brand new experiences from the original. So to put this all in a nutshell, they won't remake a previous game unless they know they can add something additional to the experience, which makes perfect sense. I can expect Triple Deluxe and maybe Robobot eventually getting the same treatment some years down the line. However, what I'm hoping for is a Crystal Shards remake, as that game needs an overhaul. But that's besides the point. I'm getting off topic. As for the second question, the interviewer asks if we're going to, quote, expect a mix of 2D and 3D Kirby games going forward existing side by side, implying how this past year we've had Return Deluxe and Forgotten Land release, both a 2D and 3D game respectively. So the interviewer is wondering if we'll see a release schedule similar to that where the two styles of platformers will continue to coexist and release together. Again, Kumazaki never gave a solid answer on the question, though he did offer a hint suggesting the question to be true. He confirms that, quote, having 2D games, 3D games, or even something completely different are all within scope for HAL Labs' future. And that is exciting news. From his own words, Kumazaki said, "You might have experienced it when you played Forgotten Land, in that it's not quite open world. It's really a 3D game that really utilizes, kind of inherits the playfulness and the ease of play of 2D Kirby games. That's a unique 3D experience that we want to provide. And so what we want to do moving forward is to continue to provide that unique 3D experience, and not necessarily be caught within the boundaries of existing genres." As a diehard Kirby fan, this quote gets me very excited towards what HAL is cooking for Kirby's future. Forgotten Land's level structure and design is seen as directly comparable to Super Mario 3D World, being that it takes elements from the 2D games and translates them into easygoing 3D. This is exactly what Kumazaki describes in his quote. As he says, it's the playfulness and the ease of play of 2D Kirby, and they translated that brilliantly into 3D. Though going forward, they seek for greater, more expansive 3D opportunities. Kumazaki considers Forgotten Land to be the Breath of the Wild equivalent for the Kirby series, meaning that all they can do from here is to take what they've perfected and just keep rolling with it. Take the blueprint of what they've started with Forgotten Land's engine and continue to expand upon it, potentially creating a true open-world Kirby experience. Going forward, I can imagine Kirby to continue releasing 2D and 3D games simultaneously, or within the same range of each other. HAL Labs are an extremely talented team that polish their games with care, so I can imagine the team continuing to develop both style of games. Why wouldn't they? Star Allies, in my opinion, concluded the modern 2D Kirby formula that Return to Dreamland started, and Return Deluxe was the cherry on top. Perhaps we'll see more classic 2D games get remade in the future, though I wouldn't expect these anytime soon, considering we just got Return Deluxe. I would personally love to see Crystal Shards and Amazing Mirror receive the same treatment as Return Deluxe, but that's wishful thinking. 2D spin-offs could be the way to go too, as sequels to Canvas/Rainbow Curse, Mass Attack, or even Air Ride might make it to the next home console. As for 3D, all HAL has to do is take the groundwork made from Forgotten Land, just as Return to Dreamland did for 4 2D installments. My biggest read on the next 3D game is that in the next, 2 to 4 years, we'll see a Forgotten Land sequel that uses the same engine and mechanics, but expands upon the environments. Think of it like this. If Forgotten Land was Super Mario 3D Land, then Forgotten Land 2 could be 3D World, in terms of the environments and expansive 3D landscapes, not the gameplay. I doubt we'll see anything close to the likes of Sunshine, Galaxy, or even Odyssey, maybe 64, but the possibility is there for them to expand further on a 3D environment, just as Kumazaki hints towards. It took HAL some time to get comfortable with a 3D setting, as it's a pretty big milestone for your IP to reach into the third dimension. We could see these elements of 2.5D start to leak out in Robobot, so it was only a matter of time until we did see a 3D Kirby realized. Even though since Robobot it took them 6 years, but we have Forgotten Land now, and it's clear to see what path HAL is going to take for the years to come. If you're not a Kirby fan, now is a better time than ever to get introduced to the series, as the Switch has a handful of the series installments already on it, plus we're getting Amazing Mirror on NSO soon. Personally, I don't think we'll see the next major Kirby on the Switch. I think they'll save it for the next console. Now, I'd love to be wrong here, but I can imagine them only releasing maybe 2 more spin-offs on the Switch before they shift focus to the next major console. Think something on the same level as Dream Buffet, Fighters 2, or Super Clash. It'd be cool to get a remake or sequel of a previous spin-off too, but that's wishful thinking too, as we just got the 30th anniversary event. That pretty well concludes the video though. Like I said, it was a short interview. It seems as if we know a basic roadmap for how Kirby's gonna play out for the next couple of years, and this interview really helped my understanding of that. If you have any ideas for what the next major Kirby games are, be it 2D or 3D, then sound off in the comments below. I'd love to read your guys' ideas. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Feel free to subscribe if you want to hear more about Kirby and the future of the series. And with that, this is Xord64, signing off.